All right, we're wrapping up the first day of practice here for the 5th stop of the Walmart FLW Tour on Kentucky Lake. Kentucky Lake being a Tennessee River reservoir, we've got one of the tournament favorites here, Walmart Pro Mark Rose, who's won a whole bunch of money on the Tennessee River in his career. Tell me something, Mark, after the first day, kind of what's your gut tell you? How's this thing setting up?
Yeah, it's not wide open like I thought it would be. After the Costa event earlier in the year, I thought that event should have been a little further along than what it was, but in the spawn cycle, they were still, they were still coming for the spawn then. So it was a little too early then for them to be right where I really like them. And then I felt like the water temperature needed to warm up some, and it's done all that. Yeah. And, I thought that the whole lake would just be wide open because I didn't think that the Triton owners would be, that big tournament that we have here every year. They didn't really bust them hard. Sure. We didn't really just crack them out there. So I really thought it'd be wide open everywhere, but I'm not finding that. I found a few, schools today that I really like, some new stuff and that's what I try to do on days 1 and 2 is always just try to find new fish when I come here. Yeah. And then I try not to even look at old waypoints, and then that last day I'll try to run everything that I've caught fish on in the past and see. So I've found a couple of things that I really like, but overall I'm not finding them out there really grouped up really good like I want them deep. Okay. Out on the river. Gotcha.
Well, that Coast event that you mentioned was about a month ago, and you did top 10 there, and like you said, they were kind of just starting to come out. Yeah. Based on what we saw at Pickwick, which is just one lake up the river, and then today, do you just think that the system running a little behind altogether this year, or is there just something weird going on?
No doubt, yeah. There's something weird going on, and everything's running. The spawn cycle was just later this year, and the water stayed colder this year than it normally has, and I don't really understand why. Global warming, I don't know. I gotcha. No, it's everything's just way behind, and it's just not on fire yet. But we're supposed to get some muggy days this week. For the first time, we're going to get these really hot, muggy nights that sustain without a cold front being in the middle of them. Although we do have a couple nights where it's going to be in the mid-60s. So, I don't know. I really look for a big wave of fish to move out there,
during the tournament.
As we're talking, yeah, I really do.
Well, obviously Kentucky Lake's a huge reservoir, 160-some thousand acres. Plus, you guys are allowed to fish the north end of Barkley. You've got 3 days of practice, and you do know the fishery pretty well. But how do you break down this much water in 3 days? Are you going to focus on one section of the lake? Or are you going to try and see as much of it as you can?
No, I'm going to try to see as much of it as I can. I fished a section today, and I'm going to fish another section tomorrow and another section. That last day, I might just kind of run everything, and like I said, run some waypoints. But I just can't really understand where this time of year when those fish first get out, man, there's schools as long as a football field. Right. And they're green and active, and I'm just not really finding that. There's a couple schools that I found today that I really like that aren't, obvious stuff. They're liking nothing. Yeah. And they're not on those good deep stuff, loaded like I like to see them right now. But that could be good. Some of those kinds are the easiest to win if you can find the right deal. I've found a couple things I like so far. I'm just not finding enough of it yet. Okay.
Well, you mentioned earlier some stuff that maybe you might have yourself, or that you found that was a little different or new. And then obviously the mega schools that people talk about. With modern electronics and mapping, guys find them. So, would you rather it be a case where they're just piled up out there, or would you rather have to be a hunt and peck kind of a deal, given your track record on the ledges?
I'd like it to be where I can catch them everywhere, Kurt. Okay. I really do. Just simply because, now, I think I've found a couple things so far that other people haven't found, but I want to be able to run around and not be on top, because if somebody sees you catching some fish, it's just obvious anymore. There's liable to be people on it, and then once you may not be able to get on anything the rest of the day. Right. So I'd like for them to. I like to get away from everybody. I like to get on a school and really figure them out, and trigger those bigger fish, and just run around lots of schools and just try to fish for those big ones. Try to trigger them, and right now, I can't. There's not enough good places right now to be able to and these guys are so good. They're going to find what schools that are out there. So I like there to be mega schools everywhere. And Kentucky Lake's the one lake where you can win this thing from the 40 bridge to the dam on both sides of the river. And I like it when everything's happening.
That's right. Well, it's a huge lake. We got a lot of water to run, a lot of factors in play this week. One thing I'm pretty sure about is if this guy has a flipping stick in his hand, there's a big spoon on it because he's not going to the bank this week. He's going to be on the ledges. Mark Rose wrapping it up here on day 1 of practice. All right, we're picking things up here with Keith Amerson. He's kind of a quasi-Kentucky Lake local, right? You said it's about 3 hours from Selmer, Tennessee to get on the lake, and you spend a lot of time down at New Johnsonville, at the south end of Kentucky Lake.
I spend a lot of time down there at Johnsonville, a whole lot of time at Parrish, and Parrish is only about 2 hours from me to Parrish Landing.
2 hours, okay.
To get there, and you know, I used to fish there every single weekend.
Really?
But now that I fish the tour, I don't get to fish there hardly ever at all.
I understand. Well, we're at the complete opposite end of the lake right now for day 1 of practice. We're here at the Kentucky Dam State Park, and you told me that you typically tend to prefer to fish down there. Why'd you come up north here to start things off in practice?
Well, I'm just changing game plans for a change, and I thought, you know, I'm going to run everything up north, and then I'm really trying to give everybody time to fish down south and get back up here and kind of get out of the way, maybe. That's kind of one thing I'm doing.
Okay.
Because I know there wasn't that many boats up here today.
Gotcha. How much of the lake did you get to see in the first day of practice?
I fished past Blood River today. So that's probably, I don't know, that's probably 30 miles close to it, maybe 25,
okay.
Something like that.
Well, I'm curious now, obviously this is a big lake and there is some diversity in the lake when you go from the north end to the south end. And what I really want to know is where we're at sort of in this progression to the ledges. Is it the same from one end of the lake to the other? Do they all kind of get out at the same time? Or do certain areas kind of light up better than others this time of year?
Well, I think, you know, normally the south end they get out quicker. But right now on the north end, there's fish out. They're not out like I thought they would be.
Okay.
I thought they would be fish everywhere. And so tomorrow I am going to go back down south and check it out down there and see what's going on down there. I mean, they're not everywhere, but there's enough out to keep me out wide.
Gotcha. Well, you fished the Coast FLW Series event this year about a month ago. Has it come a long way since then still, even if they're not quite out there like you want them?
It's a lot. They're a lot further along. Which I fished that event. I fished strictly at New Johnsonville every day, and those fish down there they are a little different than these fish here. They live a little shallower, and you know, if you can find grass and bars that have grass on them, you're going to be able to find some fish. It just takes a while to find them down there.
Gotcha. Do you think that the grass? How far long do you think the grass really is?
Well, I haven't been down there since we were in the Costa,
sure.
And it was about, you know, it was only 4 or 5 inches tall then.
Okay, so just getting started.
So it was just getting started. So I really don't know what it's going to look like when I get back down there.
Okay. Well, today, obviously, up here at the north end, this is kind of the idle zone where you idle and look and graph around all day. Did you pick up a rod much today, or did you pretty much just try and find it?
I probably did not make 25 casts today.
Really? It's not going to be the case then tomorrow in practice if you go south, right?
If I go to New Johnsonville, I'll have to fish for them to find them. I won't be able to graph them like you can here. I mean, there's places down there you can graph them, but the places that I'm going to be fishing, you won't be able to do that.
Got it. Too shallow.
Too shallow.
Too shallow to get up on top of them. Well, New Johnsonville is quite a haul, but a lot of FLW tournaments have been won down there over the years. And for guys like Keith who know that part of the lake, you don't have to rely on graphing them maybe, might have a little bit of an advantage. So we'll see how things shake out here as we get going practice for the Kentucky Lake FLW Tour stop. All right, darkness is starting to settle in here on day 1 of practice, and we're not really surprised to see guys idling and looking and running waypoints from daylight till dark here in Kentucky Lake. 160,000 acres of water, and one guy who really knows how to find them on this type of fishery is Michael Neal. Michael, you're coming off of a 2nd place finish at the last stop on Pickwick. We are in your wheelhouse here, 2 in a row on the Tennessee River system, and I gotta know, is it setting up the way the Tennessee River is supposed to set up?
It is a little bit for me, but to be honest with you, I had a much better first day of practice at Pickwick than I did here, even though we're a whole month ahead of time again. So it's different. There's not near as many fish that I'm seeing out as I figured there would be.
Okay.
As far as the places they were on when we were here 2 years ago, they're probably on maybe a tenth of what I had last time.
Okay.
I think I might have saw 3 or 4 schools all day long today, and I never did catch one over 3.5 pounds.
How much did you actually cast, and how much did you just look?
Every time I thought I saw bass, I cast it.
Okay.
There's a lot of other fish in this lake. There's a lot of white bass, a lot of Asian carp, and sometimes I got fooled. I got fooled quite often today, thinking they were bass, and they turned out not to be.
Wow, okay. Well, there is a lot of water out there, and when you come to Kentucky Lake or anywhere on the Tennessee River where you've got some experience, how much time do you spend early in practice looking at new water, idling new ledges, versus running some of the stuff you've caught them on in the past?
I tried the first day, but especially on a lake this big, it's hard to run everything in one day, so I kind of break it down in half. The first day I try and run everything, and that way I can see where I'm at. I know where
everything you fished before.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
I know a starting point at least of what I've got, and then that refamiliarizes yourself with the places, and then too, you kind of know what depth range the fish are in to go looking for new areas as well.
So you can pattern them by depth a little bit here?
A little bit you can. I mean, this lake is more so a pattern than the other ones probably, because there's so much of the main river channel itself is really deep, 25 foot plus. Where on Pickwick, Chickamauga, Gunnersville, things like that, you've got a lot of shallower river ledges themselves.
So they can be on the variety of depths here maybe versus some of the other lakes. Did it feel a little crowded out there at all today? I mean, it's Sunday, it's a weekend, and the weather was gorgeous today. I assume there were boats out.
Yeah, it was very crowded. I mean, the first 30 minutes of practice, I saw 4 boats in like 6 or 7 different places. So I mean, it looked like a tournament out there today. But I mean, it was good. I got to look at a lot of stuff. I think everybody did. The wind kind of got up later in the day, made it a little harder to do, but it was still a good day.
Okay. Well, we're at the dam right now, way at the north end of the lake, and this is where the tournament will put in here this week. How far are you willing to go on Kentucky Lake in a tournament out of the dam? I mean, because you can run a long, long way south.
I'm actually going to go practice at New Johnsonville tomorrow.
All the way to New Johnsonville?
All the way to New Johnsonville. I've never been down there but one time in my life, so I'm going to go down there. That kind of tells you how practice went today. I'm going to go scout around and see if I can find some new stuff.
Awesome. Well, you heard it from Michael Neal. Probably just going to flip the rest of the week, I would think. Forget this ledge fishing stuff. No, watch for him this week. If you're a fantasy fishing player, you probably want to have him on your team because he does know how to get it done out there, and he'll find them. We know he will. All right, this is our final interview on day 1 of practice here for the Kentucky Lake event. It's completely pitch black dark now, and our lights are attracting the bugs, but I caught up with a guy who could be fishing in a cloud of mosquitoes and still be happy. I think he might be the most happy-go-lucky pro on tour, and it's John Cox. And John, this is a big one for you. Well, they've all been big ones for you. You're number 2 in the ALY race, and come to the big pond, Kentucky Lake, where it is typically this time of year dominated by ledges. And you, being master of the depth finder that you are, no, it doesn't even use them, just fishes shallow. Do you feel out of your element out there at all, or?
No, I mean, you know, we've come here so many times, and I mean, this is like my second favorite lake.
Okay.
You know, so I mean, it's, you know.
Can't get you down.
No, I mean, it's any day out here is a good day. So, you know, the place has got tons of fish. You know, it's a little different than all the past years. I think it's going to be more of a, you know, we're going to have to mix it up some. I don't really know if one person's going to just sit on a hole and you know, and load the boat. I just swallowed a mosquito. So,
protein energy for tomorrow. Well, okay, so tell me, today out there, I mean, I assume you spent a good part of the day fishing shallow, but I mean, what kind of stuff are you looking for this time of year, just in general? You don't have to tell specifics, but I mean, it's not spawning season anymore.
No, not really. I mean, you know, in some of the shallower stuff, you know, there's not really, the few bites I got up shallow today, everything was real random. You know, it wasn't anything I like put together, and you know, it's going to be more of just going, you know, just letting trolling motor eat, and just, you know, taking crest liner down the bank wide open, and you know, fishing new stuff constantly.
Gotcha.
You know, it's
fishing from your gut a little bit.
Yeah, pretty much, because I mean, it's not, you know, you'll catch one on a piece of wood, and then you'll just go down a plain bank with nothing, and you know, catch one a few feet off the bank, you know, and 6-7 feet of water.
Well, now, you said you've been here before, and these fish, to some extent, I assume, do get on the same drops and post-spawn places too. Do you have some of those in your pockets, some waypoints you could run?
Yeah, I mean, I did so much idling here in the past, probably like 5 years when I was running transducers, and so I got quite a few waypoints from then. And I went and I ran some, and instead of actually, because it seems like a lot of the fish they're spooking when you idle over them.
Okay.
I mean, that's just what I'm guessing, and so I'm just kind of pulling up and just checking some of those waypoints and
Okay.
stuff.
Well, when I think of shallow fishing Kentucky Lake in the summer, I don't typically think the north end, and we're putting in as far north as you can get. Typically, there's a big one. Typically, I think of the south end. It's a little shallower, some grass and things like that. Do you feel like you have to go down there to do what you want to do, or do you feel like you can stay up?
Well, most of the time in the past, that was it. Everybody had to either, from here we'd all run way down, or way down into Barkley. Now we can't even go into, that far down into Barkley.
The All-American's launching over there.
Yeah. So, that's going to really, that's going to change it up a little bit, and I think a lot of us are going to make that, super long run down there, and might have to get some gas on the way back and stuff, but it's just, that just might be what happens. I mean, I won't know until until the morning of too. I mean, it's it's going to be kind of just feeling it out this week, and just see what fish feel like they're doing towards the tournament day. Well,
you've proven over the last year and 2/3 that you're pretty doggone good at doing that, just running and gunning and going off your gut and fishing the conditions. And you're 2 points out in the AOY race. Last year you came up just a little bit short. We're really in kind of the same situation throughout most of the season. Is it in the back of your mind a little bit where you're at in the standings, or are you able to put that out of mind altogether?
No, I mean, I'm happy where I'm at right now, and and with these next 2 lakes coming up, I mean, Kentucky Lake's my second favorite lake, and Champlain's my first favorite lake. So I mean, we just, I couldn't ask for it to be any better, but I, just gonna go see what happens, and try to make the cut in each one, and Sprague ends up winning, and he can have it.
Alrighty, well, Jeff Sprague's 2 points up on you right now, and you guys have a little bit of cushion over 3rd place. Not quite a 2-man race yet, but it's pretty doggone close. So we're gonna see some drama here this week, I feel like, and I set things up. I'm hoping for Champlain for just a shootout for the AOY title. But hey, watch for John Cox this week. If this sort of slow to develop ledge bite doesn't quite get out where a lot of guys want, and he's gonna be the man to watch for sure.